What's up YouTube? I'm Michael and behind the camera is Ellie. We are the Bill Paying Hobbyists. This week I'm making a gift for my tattoo artist. He loves bees and green. So we found this black and green honeycomb blank that will go beautifully with the black and chrome Mesa Twist Pen kit. The green honeycomb pattern is 3D printed and then cast in deep black Alumilite clear slow resin. I haven't turned anything 3D printed before, so this should be fun. KevsKraftsAZ on Etsy made this one. We'll put a link to his shop in the description. Let's get to it. Here we are at the drill press and we're going to drill the hole for the honeycomb blank. The green one, it takes a 27/64 bit. I'll bring you in closer so you can see what's going on and how I mark it, find centers, and make sure I drill it right. To find the center, I just take a straight edge and a pencil. I'm going to use the one I made. This thing's awesome, by the way. And we just connect corners. And where those lines intersect will be my center line, or my center mark on the blank. That's the center. So from here, I'm just going to take my awl, a little sharp point, put it right on that center point, give it a little tap. That little indentation right there will help the point of my drill bit guide to the center. Now I'm going to get this set up. Drill bit in there. Make sure it goes down far enough. Yes. Make sure it's straight. It turns straight. All right. And then I'm going to use my pen blank vise that goes in there. The blank sets in there, and this will hold it square. You have a little adjustment knob right here. If it's not too tight, it doesn't need to be super tight, just tight enough to hold that blank from turning. All right. You want to push it down as much as you can, but the square part is this way because it makes it perpendicular as long as your bed's flat. Your table's flat on your drill press. And you got a little piece of wood down there at the bottom. It just helps keep those two pieces together so I can reduce the amount of blowout I have at the end if I have any at all. Take my time and go slow. And we're all the way through. Yeah. And no blowout. We did good. So now we can glue the tube inside, let it sit, and be ready to turn it tomorrow. Let's go over to the workbench. Here we are at the bench, and after looking through some of my raw footage, I realized that you guys didn't just see me cut this on the bandsaw. So I just want to show you that I cut my blank just a little bit longer than the tube, so that I have room in case something happens and I blow out or something when I drill. Luckily, none of that happened, but it also gives me a chance that when I'm turning this, that I can square off the ends to make them perpendicular to the length of the tube, and then it just makes a straighter pen and it makes everything fit together better. So today we're gonna glue this up, and well, we're gonna epoxy it up. I'm gonna show you how we do that. Now this tube came smooth. Some of them come already sanded, roughed up. You wanna rough it up because you want something for your glue or epoxy or whatever you're using to secure it into the blank. You want to make sure that it's rough so that that medium has something to grab onto. I just use 120 grit. You can use 80. You can use 60 grit. A piece of cardboard, and I use JB Weld to knock everything over. I use JB Weld. I like to use this. It's a 5-minute epoxy. You mix it up for 30 seconds. And then I let it sit for 24 hours. I just like to let it sit that long to make sure it's nice and dry and hard. Some people use CA glue. You use what works for you. Let it recess a little bit. Make sure it's not poking out the other end. And that's it. All good. We'll let that sit for 24 hours and then we'll turn it. See you tomorrow. Yeah, ready? All right, here we go. We're at the lathe and we're getting ready to turn this green honeycomb blank to go on the Legacy pen kit. Well, that's actually a Mesa, same kit. Got our blanks. I'm sorry, we got our blank, we have our bushings, and we have our kit. So let's get to it. So we have the pen mandrel that fits my lathe. with the shaft and a mandrel saver right here on the end. So when I'm pushing on it, it keeps it straight, and this doesn't bend. You don't want it to bend, because if it bends, it'll get wobbly and it'll fly out and it'll hurt. I have a spacer right here on this end and one bushing that goes right there. It's just an old bushing that actually got nicked, and I use it to get me a little bit further away from my pen mandrel. For this kit, we have one blank and only 2 bushings, one for each end. So I'll put the bushing for this pen kit, my blank. Why is that so tight? Is there still glue in there? Nope, good to go. All right, nice and tight, huh? That's good. Then the other bushing, another spacer to get me away from my mandrel saver. I pull that in tight. Lock this down. And then tighten that up. I don't want to tighten it too much. I just want it to be snug. I don't want to bend my shaft. Raise up. There we go. And lock this down. I bring in my tool rest. Get it close. Lock it down. And I want this to be parallel with my cutting, with what I'm cutting. I'm going to use my round carbide tip. Be ready to cut. I'm going to wear my safety glasses and turn on the vacuum. I'm going to put the lathe at about 2800 RPM. So this should go fairly quick. Pretty cool. And no blowouts. That's always awesome.
How did the 3D part do?
Held up really well. Really well. Looks good. And now we're going to get it sanded down. But before I do that, I'm going to take out my actual bushings, because we don't sand the metal bushings. We sand the plastic bushings. Right, Ted?
Sit.
And I just do this as I turn it in, just to help seat it, grab it so that it finds the center. And then we're going to sand it about 1200. I'm going to use a 180, and then I'll sand with a 320, and then I'll sand with a 600 grit foam pad and a 1200 grit foam pad. And after I sand this way, I'm going to turn it off, and I'm going to go with the grain. I'm going to turn the vacuum on. Now you see how that's white and this is dark? That means this part is lower than that part, and what I want to do is make it all white so that I know that I have a flat surface here. Okay, from here, we're gonna wet sand. I don't know how this is gonna polish up, so we're gonna see how it looks when it's done. It should polish up fairly nicely. If it doesn't, then we will have to put a CA finish on it. Before I wet sand and polish, I always put cloth down to protect my lathe because I'm using water. And then a little cup of water. And Zona paper. Goes 1 through 6, 30 micron to 1 micron. And we're going to turn the lathe up to about 12, we're polishing 1400. And in between, I'll use a microfiber cloth to wipe off the excess water. So that didn't do too bad. It's kind of shiny. Shiny, shiny. But I can make it polish more. Check this out. 100, can you see that? 100,000 grit polishing paste. Just gonna use it a little bit. Put it on here. Shiny, shiny.
Gleams.
It gleams. Is that the new word?
That's the word.
All right. Last step, we're gonna put it together. It's fairly easy. We'll do it right here on the lathe. And I have these two wooden pieces I turned. It's just pieces of pine. One goes here. The other one goes right here. You take a little chamfer tool. Just get in there. Get a little bevel on the inside of that tube. That helps the kit go together. We have our kit. We have our ink cap with the clip. We have our tip, ink cartridge, and the transmission, twist transmission with the spring. Don't lose the spring. I'm gonna leave it in the bag for now because we're not even there yet. Don't need the tip and I don't need the ink cartridge. The only part that gets pressed in on this particular pen kit, Mesa, Sierra, Wall Street 2, Legacy, is the end cap with the clip. Now, I'm thinking we should put it right there because there's one little spot right there. You see where the 3D print came through? And I'm thinking if we put it just like that,
All right.
bam, covers it up. So pretty simple. We hold that there, put it like that, slide my tailstock over, tighten that up, good and tight, and then just start turning. You always want to make sure that's nice and straight. And then press it in there, bam. That's it, that's done. That looks good.
It does.
All right, so now, take our tip, the transmission, and the spring. Sometimes the springs are made to where one end is smaller than the other because there's a little bevel on the ink cartridge and it locks in. These are both the same size, it looks like, but we'll check it. Yep. That way it keeps the spring on and doesn't fly out. The good part about this one is when you take the transmission off to change the ink cartridge out, it's this way, so your spring's not gonna go flying anywhere. You take your transmission, lock that in there good, tighten that on, bam. It also comes off on this side, so you want to make sure that's nice and tight. You can put Loctite on there if you want to. I can't find my Loctite. There's your twist mechanism. This slides in right here. It's done. And give it to the professional critique, see what she says.
Ain't that beautiful?
She proclaims it beautiful. Man, this green honeycomb pen turned out really well. The honeycomb pattern was awesome. He loves his pen. Thank you for watching. Please take a few extra moments and have the subscribe button go click. Don't forget the thumbs up and share buttons. Need a special gift for someone in your life? Leave us a comment and we can work out the details. Please do something nice for a veteran today. See you next week. We love you.